So just to say, Gillian is leading on this for Dóchas, but I just want to say that I'm delighted that we're running this course again. As some of you know, we led this course and we did this course in 2023, and there was a high level of positive feedback from our members on this course. And we had 34 participants from 20 organizations, and they really stretched from CEOs to heads of department to country directors. And I think there was a very diverse and engaged group. And I think that made for quite, I suppose, an engaging course as well, where obviously there was a lot to learn, but there was a real benefit around peer learning, particularly for our sector. So I know Eleanor, Lorraine, and we have Maria, from Brighter Communities, who's also online. We'll speak a little bit around the course, and then I'll hand back to Gillian, and of course there'll be time for questions and answers on that. But I may hand over to you, Eleanor, to kick things off. That's okay.
Thanks, Jane-Ann, and welcome everybody. Good afternoon. So I'll just begin by giving you a little bit of context on who we are at UCD Innovation Academy and our approach to learning, so you get a feel for us. So just if you can move to the next slide, Lollie. Obviously, we're here to talk about the Creative Leadership Programme. As Jane-Ann mentioned, we've actually run this already. So that's been a good opportunity for us to collect more insights and to refine the programme. So this next iteration will have built on all that insight that we collected from the last time we ran it just 2 years ago. And we can just go to the next slide. So who are we at UCD Innovation Academy? Well, we're very mission driven in what we do. We want to provide transformational educational experiences, and everything that we do is grounded in the real world challenges that our learners work with. So whether that's helping to improve our society, our economy, our planet, or indeed all three, we work equally with mission-driven organisations across government, across the non-profit sector, who are committed to these missions as much as we are. So we're delighted to partner with Dóchas and with yourselves, hopefully, in this programme. So just to the next slide. I'll let Lollie come in at this point and introduce herself. Lollie.
Thanks. So I'm Dr. Lollie Mancey. Lollie is fine. I'm the program lead here. I'm the Entrepreneurial Innovation Specialist Program Director in the Innovation Academy. And I did my PhD in Irish Aid, looking at organizational silos within development. And then I've gone more into innovation and technology more recently.
Thanks, Lollie. And just to say a word on myself, prior to joining UCD Innovation Academy 3 years ago, I was 10 years with the Open Society Foundations, and so worked with lots of great NGOs and nonprofit organisations around the world. So really delighted to be part of this programme as well. So just go to the next slide. So as I said, what we do at UCD Innovation Academy, it's 21st century education for 21st century challenges. So, some of you may have, like I experienced in education growing up, had a traditional education experience. Somebody stands at the top of the room, they tell you what's what, and you repeat that in your exams and your essays. Well, we don't really believe that education, that approach to education, is equipping us with the skills that we need to solve today's wicked problems, whether that's, automation, AI, and all of the implications that will bring, or indeed ongoing disruption and this era of polycrisis that we live in. So our approach to education is very much designed to equip you with real-time skills and knowledge to deal with these challenges. And I know, of course, that people working in the international development sector are all too familiar with these challenges. So we hope that this approach will be tailored and well suited to yourselves and something you can apply in real time. Indeed, how we learn and how our students learn, it's a methodology that we've refined over many, many years. We've been up and running since 2010. It's learning from doing, it's applied, it's experiential, particularly for busy professionals like yourselves. We're not asking you to take time out of your day and be lectured at for 4 hours. It's going to be highly dynamic and engaged. Our approach is online. We do in person and online. This program is online, but we call it live online because it's very dynamic and interactive. So forget any learning experiences you've had with a sea of cameras turned off. That's not our approach at all. It's highly interactive. Psychological safety is a big part of what we do. We want you to be able to share and learn from your peers. And indeed, that was one of the big takeaways from the last program, was that community of practice that we created through that psychological safety was hugely valuable to learners. Failure, learning from failure, it's a key part of innovation, a key part of our approach. And I won't go through each one of the other components, but you can see yourself, it's very applied, creative approach. The next slide. Lollie will speak more in a moment, the entrepreneurial mindset, which is a big part of the methodology. These are some of the competencies that are incorporated within the entrepreneurial mindset, and something that we weave throughout all of our programs, and something that, again, I'm sure you encounter every day in your work, and the unpredictability that you no doubt engage with. So this will be also part of the methodology that will be woven into the program itself. What's the vision for the program? What was the overall goal of it? To encourage a strong and diverse leadership within the Irish international development and humanitarian sector. And again, that diversity that we aim to have in the program, and creating that space for you to learn from each other, will be a really important part of that. And it's creative leadership, importantly. So you may have done kind of traditional leadership programs in the past. This is a very different approach. It's a very different style to leadership that you experience. This is just some of the organizations that participated in the last intake, to give you a flavor. I think if we move to the next slide, we might see, some of the locations. So again, to say, regardless of where you are in the world, we're very well equipped to incorporate everybody in a way that works for you and your time zone and so on. And you can see from the last time we ran it, we had lots of different geographies involved. So that's certainly something we can work well with. And then I think the next slide is just a nice video to show some.
Wanley Classroom. I'm the country director for Concern Worldwide in Haiti. The 3 words I would use to describe the UCD Academy Leadership Course would be reflective, reflective, and reflective. On self-awareness and in understanding how ideas blend together, as worst ideas or even wild concepts can turn into creative and innovative projects with reflection and a will, a vision for change, and when people come together. Thank you.
My name is Brian Ardell, co-founder and CEO of Nurture Africa. I'm based in Nansana, Uganda. The UCD Academy Leadership Course was transformative for me. As a leader, it's made me more reflective. I'm more facilitative with my management team. I now have tools to enable me to have both the introverts and extroverts in my team to have an equal voice and to be more creative. Practically, the program has enabled me to develop a very creative proposal pitch deck for the MasterCard Foundation, which we recently presented and got to the next level. So that was great. And in 3 words, I described the program as impactful, interactive, and insightful. Thank you.
I'm Suzanne Elder. I'm the Program Director for Concern Worldwide in Malawi. The leadership course that was recently facilitated through Dóchas was really exceptional. It's one of the best professional courses I've done in my career, and it really helped me think differently about how I lead. In particular, I think it just gave me the space to be curious about how things could be different. And just giving that time and energy into creativity in the job that we do. In particular, we have a few innovative programs at the moment with Concern. One you can see beside me is a biogas program that we are running in urban areas in the Long Way. And the course really helped me think about scale and think about how we could be doing this program in a more innovative way and better. So I'm really grateful for that.
Great. So I'll hand it over at this stage to Lollie, who can speak to you more about the program itself. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Eleanor. Oh, hang on a second. Thanks. Okay, so as we move forward, as we've said, this course is for leaders in the international development humanitarian sector. It's creative leadership. It's all about change. It's very practical applications. You'll develop the skills and tools to influence others, work better in your own environment, understand yourselves more as an organization and your role in it, and then harness the energy of your team to solve the challenges together as you move forward. So, oh, apologies. Hang on a second. I'm backwards rather than forwards. There we go. So as we move forward, then again, this is entrepreneurial mindset's really key. It's also called the innovative mindset. It's a way of solving problems that we're facing on the daily basis. And in the entrepreneurial sector, we would call this the peaks of enlightenment and the troughs of disillusionment that are very much the daily experience for most of us, you know, solving challenges that are on both a macro and a micro level, you know, simultaneously. So it's about how you act on your opportunities, how you make decisions with limited information, and then, of course, the very key skills for now into the future towards 2050, that resilience and that adaptability to change, and what we need to do as leaders to be able to lean in to be there for our teams. So it's into different modules. The first module is creative thinking and innovation. You will do some work around your hopes, needs, and concerns. And then there'll be team innovation challenges. We use breakout teams an awful lot rather than just sitting passively. You'll be very active, co-creating within those groups. Building then into an idea about how do we collaborate creatively, both with our key stakeholders, with our members within our organizations, and then in a broader way on the global stage. And we'll be giving you some tools to help you with that. And then the third day, we will introduce you to design thinking, and we'll do a short sprint. It comes out of Stanford D School. It's an incredibly agile and fast way of getting to figure out what is the problem that I'm facing here, and what are a series of solutions that we could do, with a lot of reflection as well of their applicability. Moving on then into the next phase, we would then be looking at the idea of creative leadership in more depth. So your best examples of leadership and also your worst. So we create a psychologically safe space where we can say, what did I learn from that experience? How do I design better alliances between stakeholders and different participants in this field? And then what are the core values that I'm upholding, not only of myself as a leader, but the organization that I'm representing as well? We will do a lot around influencing skills with live practice and feedback, and I'll have a co-facilitator, and we'll be working together with each team, individually on that. And then I think day 4 really is the part where we start to build into acting in the world. How do I now go with all of the skills that I've built up on these first 6 days to back into the world to enact them? So bringing that learning to life, how do you take it forward, your reflection, and then moving forward into sort of what we will call sort of dynamic collaboration, which of course is key to any organization's success at the moment. So there is a share and learn symposium based on this dynamic interaction. We will create small dynamic think tanks for you. Each team will be developing a challenge relevant to the work in your sector and applying the program tools, design thinking, systems mapping, foresight, and then the one after foresight probably coming more and more into the fore at the moment with generative AI, which is this idea of consequence mapping and the idea about developing actionable, innovative solutions that are agile enough that we can adapt as other factors enter them. So we'll go from theory into testing and prototyping. And then to make this highly relevant as well, we'll be doing the real challenges that you're facing on the daily basis. We'll do some scenario testing where you will test them out with different, of course, with cultural pluralism, different cultural, organizational, and geopolitical contexts to evaluate their feasibility, applicability, changing and tweaking as we go accordingly. And then a deep level of feedback cycles. So cross-team presentation, helping you understand where are the connections to other people's problems, where yours begin and end and others may just be starting, to foster this deeper insight and this collaborative learning that we've been doing for so many years. And I think sometimes the unintended consequences of getting people in the room together, and I know it's virtual, but it'll in exactly the same way, we actually find that many of us are facing the same challenges, but we're coming at it from different perspectives. We can learn a huge amount through this collaboration, and it's key to our organizational success. So as we move forward, we already have the dates here already set. And then I might hand back over to you, Eleanor, because I know there is an application process that we can talk through.
That's right. Thanks, Lollie. That's probably where I'll call in Gillian, who can speak to the application process and how you can do that. Gillian.
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much, Eleanor and Lollie. It was great to get a bit of an overview, a bit more in-depth information on the content, because I have had quite a few inquiries about that, and particularly about the last piece in June. People were very curious about how that was going to pan out. So the application is very simple. We're looking for either a very short one-pager letter on why you would like to take part, some of your motivation, a little bit maybe about your role and how the course would help you to fulfill it better. And an alternative is anybody who would like to submit a short video, maybe not more than about 3 minutes. That's all it would take, or less. So it's really quite simple. Not a long drawn out application process. That's all we require. We originally had the deadline today, but we have pushed that out to February 3rd. So that gives people all of next week, and including the weekend. But as I say, it's not a very onerous application process. So we are really encouraging people to apply from across geographical locations. And we had people, as I think, as you pointed out already, we had people in the 2023 intake from a number of different countries, which made it, I think, a richer experience. But on that, I'm going to ask Maria to come in maybe just for a couple of words on, as a past participant, maybe what were some of the highlights. Just to say, we did have really good positive feedback from the course. We did a full evaluation after the course in 2023, and there was very positive feedback about all kinds of things. I think one of the things, and not to preempt you, Maria, but just quickly, one of the things that also that people seem to find very beneficial was the mentoring side of things. The one-to-one and the peer mentoring seemed to have been a very popular aspect of it. But I think also just the peer learning and exchange from across all varieties of roles and organizations and geographies. So I don't know if you might like to add to that, Maria, or what were your highlights?
Thank you, Gillian. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I mean, to me, and I said this to my two colleagues who are thinking of applying, it was the best leadership course I've ever done. I'm working in this field more than 20 years and have done many leadership workshops, courses, etc. And I suppose I sat today before this reflecting on why that was the case. And I think it allowed me personally to shift my thinking completely into what's possible and to discover more without always having the answer for everything. I suppose in the past, leadership was, you almost needed to be the expert or something similar to that. Whereas for me, I loved the creativity of it, and I would never ever have considered myself creative until I did this course, and now I think I am. Never, like, I associated creativity with a completely different area. I think as people were as I was looking at the slides, I was trying to think of my 3 words, and I think empathy would be a key learning for me, and empathetic leadership was brilliant. I loved it, putting ourselves in other people's shoes and moving into the whole design thinking. We've used it in brighter communities. It definitely has produced results. I think, my first learning was the reflection piece, and I actually, even during the course, used it and tried it out in different areas. I also do facilitation for other organizations, and it was amazing, and the results were way more productive than normal, than previously, let's say. And I suppose the other thing was the whole discovery and, looking at things differently. So my presentation at the end, because we did a project, was on the future of brighter communities worldwide. And it came at a time when we were beginning the work on our strategic plan. We're just about to publish it, and I think I can see everything in the plan. We used it. We knew we don't have the answer for the next 5 years, actually, as to sustainability and succession, but we definitely, using the methodologies in the course, explored it in a completely different way. So I couldn't recommend it enough. I was scared at the start, I'll be honest, when I started, and especially the first couple of minutes, when, people had to, I suppose, contribute, and there was no hiding or anything. But by the end of it, there wasn't enough time for us all to contribute, really, because I don't know, it was the facilitation was amazing. The 2 ladies, bonded us together as a group. It was very safe, and psychological safety was very important to everybody, but it was created before we were ever introduced to the topic, let's be honest. And I think the peer learning, and yes, I would agree, Gillian, the one-to-one mentoring was amazing. And I actually went back just this afternoon looking at some of my emails from the different people on the course, and we've stayed in touch actually. So I think that says a lot. So I'd go for it. Anyone who's thinking about it, I couldn't recommend it more.
Thanks,
So
Maria.
that answers. Yeah.
I just jump in there and say, I'm not scary at all, so don't be afraid.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I think go with it, an open mind. Commit to it though. It does take a bit of work, and you do have to, you know, turn up and engage, and, you know, take the time afterwards to reflect on what you've learned. There's lots of reading, lots of materials, and, you know, just have the courage. Just go for it is what I would say.
Thanks, Maria. That's absolutely glowing feedback and very encouraging for people to apply. That's great. Thanks. Just to say a couple of things. We have tweaked, or are in the process of tweaking slightly, the final piece, which we're talking about, the June Learning Symposium. I don't know, Lollie, would you like to say a little bit about that? We discussed it also we have a small steering group helping us put shape on how we roll out this course. So that includes a couple of the members, well, Maria's on it, but also Tom Costello from See Beyond Borders and Sean Copeland from Tier Fund Ireland, who are here. So we have had a little bit of discussion around are there any parts that we should tweak for this session? And one of the parts we decided that in 2023 there was a final output in the form of a mini project, and we have changed that a little bit. I don't know, Lollie, would you like to say? I know it may not be completely finalized as yet how we're going to do that, but we're looking at that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's not finalized yet, obviously, because we need more advisement with you. But you know, we're moving away from action learning sets and final projects into something that's going to be more applicable potentially as well. So you can see already in the slides there where I've got that sort of collaborative part. We can work on that so it's got maximum impact for what you need.
And I think the other part of that was also, it was, well, I'm not going to use the word intimidating, but as Maria said, you know, at the beginning, everybody was a little bit nervous. So there's that side of it, but also just time and capacity for people working. Everybody has a very busy job in the sector. So we're trying to just get a balance for all of that. And that's how that came about.
Yeah,
so
no,
I don't know.
Absolutely. To be honest, you know, every single group of students that we have from every industry and every background, every sector faces the same thing, which is we are time poor, very busy, but we have a need to innovate, inspire, and create new things. So we're very you know, cognizant of that fact, and we work within those parameters.
Yeah, great. So I'd like to open the floor, maybe if anybody has any questions or comments or suggestions. Anyone at all? I know some of you are here today with a view to either applying yourselves or to passing on the information for colleagues and teams who might like to take part. So if you have any kinds of questions around that. Or suggestions for what you might like to see incorporated into the sessions.
Apologies, I joined late. I just want to know if this will be shared, the recording, so I can assimilate the information properly.
It will, sure. Yeah, we can share it with members.
Thank you.
Well, if there's no questions, Gillian, I think just probably one thing to note is that we have secured, I suppose we're able to run this course because we've secured funding from Training Links. So it's probably just to mention, obviously there's a small fee associated, but I think that's really to supplement the costing, because we're only able to deliver this because we've received a grant to be able to do so. So really it's with the vein of giving a real added value to our members and being able to secure funding through a training fund and be able to deliver something that's quite bespoke really to the sector. and what the sector needs, and really but linking in with the kind of level of professionalism and I suppose expertise that the Innovation Academy can bring as well. So but as Gillian said there, I think there are elements of this that we are still tweaking. We really wanted to bring in the learning that we did from the 2023 course and the feedback, and make sure that we're really tailoring it to our members' needs and wants, and things that will be really impactful in helping you or your colleagues to deliver on their roles. So it's just to mention that. But yeah, thanks, Julian.
Thanks, Jane-Ann. And I think we did have some of this conversation also with the steering group, and in some ways, even 2 years on, it's a fast changing sector, and we're facing probably an increasingly challenging environment. So something like this can be also really helpful in navigating around that. And I think Lollie and Eleanor have had some really good input on that so far, and seem to have a very good understanding of the dynamics of our sector. So that's hugely helpful. So thanks very much, everyone. If we don't have any more questions, I think we will wrap it up there, and I will share this recording with all members, and you might I'll share it as a link so you can easily share it on, and hopefully we will have a number of applications in by next week. There is a cap of 34 participants. So we will, review applications, but we would hope to be able to offer places to the majority of applicants where relevant. Okay, thanks everybody, and have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And we'll share the slides as well, just so I know Maria's put in that there. Yeah, that's grand. Thank you.